Hi, it is Haley with Ag in the Classroom, and today's lesson is all about trees. I know that I don't always think about trees when it comes to agriculture or tree farms and all of the products that trees provide us. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit more today. We will talk about the different kinds of trees, how trees grow a little bit differently on a farm versus in the forest, and all of the products that come from trees. We are going to start off with a story. So, next up, we will read a little book.
The Forest Where Ashley Lives, written by Mark A. Vidosh and Ashley L. Vidosh, illustrated by John L. Smith. Hi, my name is Ashley. I'm 7 years old. I like to play soccer in the spring, ride my bike in the summer, make leaf piles in the fall, and build snow people in the winter. I also like to take walks around town with my dad and my dog, Ubu. My dad is a tree person. He's called the town forester because he takes care of the trees in our town forest. Do you have a forest where you live? Trees are everywhere in our town forest. They're in the park, at my school, near the creek and river, along the streets, and in people's yards. Our town forest includes more than just a lot of trees. It also has people, buildings, houses, streets, cars, buses, and trucks. Our town forest also has shrubs, flowers, vines, water, soil, animals, and mushrooms. If you live in a town or city, you probably live in a forest too. Many kinds of trees live in our town forest. Some have big, broad leaves and names like maple, oak, ash, elm, and walnut. These trees lose their leaves in the fall. Conifer trees have thin needle-like leaves with names like pine, spruce, and fir. Most conifers stay green all year long, even in the winter. These trees are called evergreen. All conifers make cones that hold seeds. What kind of trees are in your forest? Our town forest has many different sizes of trees. Some are tall, some are short, and some are in between. Just like people, the trees are all different ages. My dad told me that the biggest trees are not always the oldest. Some trees can grow more than 4 feet a year, while others may grow 6 to 24 inches in a year. Forests provide many benefits for people and animals. My dad told me that trees and other plants release the invisible gas called oxygen that is needed by all living things to survive. Wow! This means trees and other plants help us stay alive. Trees are like big air conditioners that run all summer long. My sister, Abby, and I like to play in the shade of our big trees. It would be really hot in the summer without any trees. Some trees are helpful in the wintertime too. The pine trees in our backyard stay green all year long. They act like a wall to keep winter winds from blowing against our house. They protect the rabbits in my backyard too, by giving them a sheltered place to live. Our forest provides a home for animals such as squirrels, birds, rabbits, owls, raccoons, butterflies, and beetles. Trees also provide food for some animals. The trees, shrubs, and grasses in our forest help the water we drink at home and school stay clean. Tree and other plant roots filter out some unwanted materials in the water as it moves through the ground. Roots also help hold the soil so it doesn't wash away when it rains or when the snow melts. Without the help of trees and other plant roots, the water could get really yucky. Trees provide many benefits. They help cool the air, clean the water, provide homes and food for animals, and provide oxygen for us to breathe. They also make our town look pretty. In order to do all these things, trees and forests have to be healthy. Foresters like my dad help trees grow strong and healthy. One day I went to work with my dad. At first I was mad because his workers cut down some trees, but then my dad told me that sometimes sick or injured trees have to be removed so they won't fall on houses or people. The best way to help the forest every time a tree is cut down is to plant new trees to replace it. Every spring we have a special tree planting day called Arbor Day. My dad lets me help. When I was 4 years old, my dad and I planted a tree for Arbor Day. We went to a tree farm that is called a nursery to choose the tree. We picked a white ash. It was neat because this tree had the same name as me. My dad calls it Ashley's tree. The first thing we did when we planted my tree was to dig a big wide hole. Then we put the tree in the middle of the hole, and then we put the same soil back into the hole to cover up the roots. Next, we covered the ground around the tree with wood chips. Finally, we gave the tree plenty of water. To protect my tree, Dad told me not to break the branches, hit it with a lawnmower or weed whipper, carve my name on it, or tie my dog Ubu to it. Instead, I water the tree when it is hot and dry, and when my dad helps the tree become stronger by cutting and removing broken and weak branches. He does this to all of the trees in town at different times to help them stay healthy and strong. Trees are neat living things, and we really need them in our towns and cities. They will always help us if we help them. Now that you know so much about trees and forests, you can enjoy the ones where you live.
So, what did the trees provide to the community? Were the trees important? What is an arborist? How did the arborist care for the trees? Were all of the trees the same or were they different? What was different about them? You guys can pause to chat about that as a class. Otherwise, I want to move on and chat about the differences between two main types of trees. So, in the summertime, we see the trees with the beautiful leaves on them. And then in the fall, they sometimes turn different colors. And then they also fall off of the tree onto the ground. But then in the spring, the little leaves come back. And the tree just kind of does the cycle of losing its leaves and sprouting new ones in the springtime. Those are called deciduous trees. Deciduous trees lose their leaves in the fall and then grow them back in the springtime. There are also trees that have needles, usually. They are green needles or green leaves that will stay green even in the wintertime. And those are conifer trees. So they will stay green even when it's really chilly and snowy and windy and cold. And they will still keep those needles on there. We sometimes call them evergreen trees, things like that. So also like the Christmas trees that you maybe think of now are evergreen trees or conifer trees. So that is one of the products that conifer trees provide to us is Christmas trees or decorative trees. They also provide wildlife habitats during the wintertime. Birds and squirrels and small animals and things like that we have here in Iowa cannot survive in the trees with no leaves throughout the winter. So they will make a conifer tree their home for the wintertime. And we also will use the wood from those trees for construction, for furniture, and even for pencils. So that kind of wood works really well for building materials. The deciduous trees, the trees that lose their leaves every fall, lots of times they will provide us with fruit and nuts. And they will also provide us with pulp, which is what is used to make paper, toilet paper, lots of paper products. We also use that for some lumber as well. And we put them up for windbreaks in the yard and for decorations, kind of landscaping decorations. They also provide us with syrup and other products that you might find in the grocery store. Take a look out your classroom window now if you can see out the windows. And do you see a deciduous tree? Do you see a conifer tree? What do you see about them? Are there leaves on it? Is it green? Are there pine cones? What do you see in the trees that are just outside of your window? On your screen here is a picture of deciduous trees. So you can see all the different colors and also just green. And also there is a couple trees there with no leaves on it. So that's in the fall and the winter. And then this next picture shows coniferous trees, sometimes it's called. So you see that all of these they're still green. They don't change colors in the fall time. And as long as they're healthy, their needles and pine cones are there year round. Thing is planned out, and they want to make sure that they are producing the best trees the fastest that they can to provide tree products to people. So in forests, everything is just naturally occurring. Seedlings are dropped at random by birds and the wind. Trees fall down by windstorms or things like that. So everything just naturally occurs. Also in forests, there are not a lot of people to bother the forest. Sometimes we can go hiking or something like that, but people are not in the forest every single day. Or at the tree farm, somebody is caring for that farm every single day. There's also more diversity in the forest. There are lots of different kinds of trees, different ground coverings. There's different grass and moss and things like that that a tree farm does not take the time to plant. There are similarities between forests and tree farms. The first thing is that both of them have trees and both of them are good for our environment. They produce clean air and plants are always good for our environment. They also both provide homes for wildlife and they both do provide wood products for us. Tree farms, that is their main reason is to provide product to people. And forests sometimes still do provide product for people, but really their main reason is to take care of our soil and our air and our wildlife. Just to talk more about the products that we get from trees, the in your classroom kit there should be a little packet of riddles. If your teacher would like to read the riddles to the class and you guys can try to decide what product they are describing, that might be kind of fun and you can do that now. I've also included a little worksheet that you can go through and circle the products that come from trees. And last, I included a little half sheet of pictures of 3 different kinds of trees, versions of trees. The one is a deciduous tree with its leaves. The second picture is a deciduous tree without its leaves, so maybe it looks like some of the trees we see right now here in the wintertime. And then the last one is a picture of an evergreen tree, and so you can take your time to color those. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while we talked about trees, and I can't wait to see everyone in the classroom.